Wheat Court downtown. So there's like a pump there. There's another one on Ashford Avenue that has different zoning than the
And then
adjacent
street.
place.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, we're late. All right, welcome everyone to the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees, January 13th, 2026. Can I please have a motion to open this public meeting? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Gupta, all in favor. Everyone, we have Trustee Asuma is joining us from her home for extraordinary circumstances. And we hope you are doing better. We miss you. Can't wait to see you again in real life. But she is attending. So let's do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. First on our agenda is a presentation. It's our annual audited financial statements for the Village and Justice Court. We have Jonathan B. Gibbs. Would you like to come up to here, please?
Thank you all very much for having me this evening. My name is Jonathan Gibbs. I'm a partner at BST. We are the independent accounting firm that you folks in your role as governance over the village appoint to perform your fiscal year-end audit of May 31st, 2025. I'm here to give a brief overview of what we do, as well as some quick financial results here. We actually issue 4 different reports. We issue an opinion over the financial statements themselves. We issue a report required under government auditing standards. We issue a single audit report. And then finally, we perform an agreed upon procedures compliance report from the Uniform Justice Act for the Village's Justice Court. I'm going to bookend this presentation by saying this was a very positive and successful audit for the village, as it has been in prior years. And I'm going to kind of talk about each report and highlight each and talk about why they was positive. So beginning with the big one is the financial statements. We issued an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. That is the highest level of assurance that we're able to provide under our professional standards. To support that opinion, we obtained significant understanding of the internal controls of the village, as well as perform a significant amount of substantive testing. I'm sure as Jeff and his team can attest, we ask for a lot of documentation from invoices to bank statements, payroll registers, time cards. And ultimately, we came to the conclusion that the financial statements are presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles in the United States. We identified no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in internal control over each of the village's processes. We were in agreement with the estimates that were embedded by management within the financial statements. There were no significant issues or difficulties in us obtaining the documentation that we needed to support our audit opinion. And in general, there was no significant matters that would rise to the level of communication to you folks, again, in your role as mayor and trustees. I'd like to talk on quick changes in comparison to the prior years. The Government Accounting Standards Board had a new accounting standard, GASB 101, compensated absences this year. We evaluated this with Jeff and his team, ultimately determining that there was no significant impact to the village's financial statements from that accounting standard. We had no audit adjustments to begin our audit field work. Again, this is a kind of a rarity these days in the government world in terms of the requirement of certain audit adjustments that we typically find in the course of our audit. We had one uncorrected misstatement. This was an isolated incident based on an invoice that was received well after the village's year-end close of 2024 that was ultimately determined to be immaterial, but it is included within the reports provided to you for full disclosure purposes. Again, an immaterial item, but required to be communicated to you folks. A quick analysis of the financial statements themselves. I understand it's kind of a bit of old news here in the sense that it's May 31st of 2025, and you folks have turned the page a bit, but talking about real briefly about the general fund decreased fund balance by about $650,000 to come to an $8.7 million fund balance at year end. Within the financial statements, there's a really great summary of the budget to actual schedule. That's actually on page 61 that I would encourage users of the financial statements to take a look at. That shows what the actual results were in comparison to your final modified budget. And if you were to take a look at that budget, you would note that the village had in their final budget amounts that there's an appropriated fund balance estimate of about $3.2 million that was anticipated to be used. Actual results came in much better than that of only a $652,000 loss, primarily as a result of certain decreases in expenditures that were budgeted by the village, as well as a couple categories such as sales tax and a couple state aid grants that came in with revenues that were higher than anticipated. The Capital Projects Fund is another major fund of the village. That decreased about $1.1 million. That is simply due to the significant ongoing expenditures required from capital improvements throughout the village. Street paving costs of about $400,000. There's Gould Park maintenance of about $910,000, as well as some other energy grants of about $600,000. Finally, within your governmental activities, this is your village-wide full accrual statements. Net position increased by about $1.7 million. That's attributed to principal paydowns on your debt with no new borrowings, as well as some significant capital additions of about $2.7 million. Touching briefly on the single audit is required because the village had expenditures of over $750,000 during the year. We had one major program, which was the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds, otherwise known as ARPA. We found no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. We found the village was fully compliant with all federal regulations associated with that. We also filed with the federal government in December of 2025. That report is certified by both Jeff and I as auditor and auditee to ensure that we are compliant with the federal reporting guidelines. Final report that we have is the Justice Court audit. The New York State requires this to be performed in the New York State Uniform Justice Court Act. Over the financial operations of the Justice Court, we performed 8 significant and different procedures were performed, and there were no findings noted. So again, to summarize, this is a successful audit of no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies, no audit adjustments, or no other matters to be communicated to you folks. With that, I'm happy to take any questions that anyone may have.
I just want to, we have 3 newer trustees, and I just wanted to to ask questions to help frame how awesome our staff does and runs this village to have this kind of report. So you work for other municipalities too, yeah?
I do, Mayor, yes.
And like lots of them or not many or how many?
Substantially all my time's in the government sector.
Right.
Are you fishing?
How
for
much
a
better are we
compliment?
I
than
mean, just like how are, this is good, right? This
That's
is a good
exactly right.
report,
And to-
and it's not necessarily normal, and so don't take it for granted, is my point.
Yeah.
It's important, and they do a lot of work to make this happen.
Absolutely. We find in the government world, the ability to both attract and retain folks with the skills, knowledge, and experience of governmental accounting is a challenge. So
Mhm.
certainly, the village should be applauded with their efforts and what their finance department has currently.
So,
That's great.
thank you
And
all.
keep in mind now, we have an actual auditor in the position that you created in the Office of Auditor. So Jeff will have even more assistance. So hopefully you'll keep up the standards, and now you have a partner to assist you with the work.
Auditing claims.
Auditing claims, yes.
Kudos to Jeff and his staff.
Yes.
Yay.
Thank you.
Everybody's clapping at home too. All-
And,
all the ones.
and Mayor and Board, there's 2 resolutions approving that resolution coming up later on
Yeah.
on the agenda.
Liz, do you like it when we jump and do that, or would you prefer us to do it in order if it's in, if it's?
Order.
Okay, well, out of order?
No.
Okay, in order, and we will wait. All right, thank you. So anybody else have any questions for him? Donna is at home. Do you have questions for him? Thumbs up.
Jeff, is there anything that you feel like we
Should
should ask
know.
that we didn't? should ask or should be aware of in this
No,
process?
no,
I
it's
mean, I
just
know we've.
in good,
we're all the
good
components.
financial condition, and we continue to work to keep, the village in an excellent, financial condition.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time, everyone. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you for coming.
All right, on to public hearings. We have on here a continuation of the public hearing regarding the cable franchise renewal agreement between the Village and Verizon. We are,
You had asked to keep it open while discussions were pending with the affiliated company, the cellular, Verizon Cellular. And that has been the conversations have been ongoing. It's my understanding, I'm not privy to them. So when you're satisfied that you have received a level of understanding and information, there would be no further reason to adjourn this, but as of tonight, I don't have that information, so I can't
Right.
advise you.
so we will.
You'll take a motion to adjourn it further, or if there's discussion, because the public hearing is still open.
If I may, Mayor Nell and I have had a couple of conversations with Verizon Cellular that has, Verizon Mobile, I guess, that has wireless, mobile wireless. Really hard to keep up with the language. And
Which is
they have-
a separate business.
it's a separate business
but,
from the cable
you know,
franchise.
Married to.
Yes, although they will be the first to tell you that they're more separated
Yes.
than they are really joined in holy matrimony. They have given us, there's sort of two prongs that they're working on. One is to actually put a full tower up that requires the completion of a lease that Christie is working on. But in the interim, or if that fails, they have said that they will put smaller cell sites on poles in the downtown, so that while we won't get the full coverage across, the whole village, at least there will be some coverage in the downtown. What we don't have is timing for that. They had said that and this was in late November, early December, they had said that they would put a team in the village in order to figure that out. Rob, have they been in touch with you at all about that?
No schedule yet?
Okay, so, but personally, and I was the first one to raise my hand and say, wait, we shouldn't blow a negotiating position here. But I do feel like we've made progress with Verizon Wireless towards a plan, and we certainly now have all their contact information. And when they come to a meeting, they come with an army.
Yeah, they do.
And so I don't know that there's really any reason to hold this up for that anymore, because we have those, they are disconnected. There's nothing that we're going to get from the wireless people, because we're holding this for the cable folks. So I don't know that we need to put it over anymore.
There's also the wires issue.
The wires issue, they said that they would work on, and I have another plan for that. So there,
Are you saying that's wireless or
That's-
not wireless?
That's connected to.
that is
Lazy.
connected. That is connected.
And that
Dan
was
was gonna get, so we had asked them, when we were speaking to the cable guys, we had asked them about the
Double poles?
double poles.
Mhm.
And cleaning up the wires. They certainly hedged about there's an order, so I've actually been doing a lot of research on double poles, and Hastings has a local law about double poles and I spoke to their village administrator, that they don't enforce particularly. But I've got some research that I'm presenting to Christie, and maybe we can talk to Lori Lee about it, and deal with the double poles as a matter of a local law. I don't know that there was any next step that we were going to get from the cable people that.
Well, it seems like we should make sure of that
Yeah.
before we send this thing. So
Yeah,
who
I
needs
So
forgot
we'll
about
check
that.
up on the wire cleanup, and double poles is kind of one thing. Wire cleanup is another thing. The wireless discussions, I feel like they've connected us adequately with the appropriate people, which is great. And then the other thing I still wanted to check was the PEG money that's in the contract. That would be the only thing that we're talking about that actually changes the language of the contract that we're talking about.
The deadline actually passed on that
No.
before mayor took office. The deadline had passed, the 10,000 one-time fee was negotiated and settled. So
Okay,
that
all
would
right, that's done then.
that would be terribly awkward to reopen that. And I know we do have a balance currently in our PEG account.
Right.
And I know that the administrator's been working on some
Yeah.
potential projects that will be coming forward for that. So it
In
would
the
be a
contract, they grant
replenishment
you
of
money to do
about
improvements.
16,000, I think, 16,000 that you have
All right,
on hand already.
What does
So
the
then-
PEG stand for?
I don't know.
Public
Oh, you-
education.
Public education grant.
Oh, okay, thank you. Sorry.
It's, yeah, it's usually used for studios
Lot of
and
acronyms.
Yeah, like if you had your
That's
own
right,
little
that's right. That's right.
cable station,
Yeah.
Dobbs TV. Liz is
Which
gonna
we
host
have
a
access
show.
to that, right? We have that ability?
We, yes,
It's-
Yes.
that's what the PEG
Yeah, Breathe,
is for.
breathe new life into it.
Uh-oh, stop.
Uh-oh.
Gooped is on it. All right.
I'm on
So
it.
we will follow up about the double poles and the
You-
wire cleanup and then hopefully move this, we'll
Okay.
adjourn this to the next meeting.
Okay.
But I should take a motion for that. Yeah?
You do need to take a motion to adjourn. I just want, while we're still in the public hearing, I just want to request and recommend, as far as the cellular installation, just a reminder that those suitcase antennas that they're thinking of along your
Oh, right.
along your main street, the suitcase size antennas that they put many more of them in than a single pole. They also have a corresponding cabinet for each antenna that's usually ground level. So just during your communications and conversations, you could ask for visuals of other installations and ideas on how those been handled in the past, because I know you do have a streetscape project in the books that you have sent up for New York Forward grant. So I want to just make sure you have a full understanding of the complexity of those facilities. I know
Thank
in
you
the
very much
city,
for
they've raised
bringing that
them
up.
or buried them, or I just don't want you to be surprised to wake up one day and there's 12 cabinets on the street.
Oh, wow.
All
That
right.
was just a suggestion.
Yes, Donna.
Do the neighboring villages also use Verizon?
Yes, you're part of a consortium that my firm represents. And we're actually working with 4 of the VOC villages on the Altice now. Many of you have already settled your Altice, but yes, we are working with a consortium. I have to say, we are the remaining holdout on the consortium franchise adoptions. And I was speaking with Mr. Train, Paul Train, the representative, earlier today, and I indicated that I would bring back any remaining questions to him.
And Lori Lee, have they cleaned up the wires in the other villages? Have they helped them with the, aesthetics of it?
Hastings is underground.
Yes.
So yes, at some point they did, or somebody did.
And,
Irving-
the FiOS was buried along with the upper main streetscape in a conduit. So it's entirely
Verizon was as well,
possible.
not just Altice. Verizon's FiOS lines were buried. I don't recall that.
There's a conduit in place at this point, in that section that you did. So it's possible that when
Oh,
the
could be
lower
later.
comes in, you can install the same kind of conduit. So you'll be ready to go.
And another question, where would the tower be as opposed to the suitcase-like?
The tower is under consideration, rooftops,
We're talking to
Ground
private,
level, they're
private
talking
property
about-
owners, but they also came and talked to us to assess whether we could have one on top of Village Hall, which they deemed is not suitable because it would not hold it.
it's
And
wood.
they looked at the back parking lot, which they said they could make work if we wanted to have how many feet?
120.
90, 80? Yeah, I thought it was under 100. Many, many feet tall
Oh.
tower in our parking lot. We could, if we all wanted to do that, which I have not brought to us,
We
because
talked
I'm
about
hoping
that.
we can find a better location than that.
They had made that suggestion some months ago, and we talked about it at a workshop, and I thought you were there, but it was before that. And at the time, nobody loved that idea.
It was a recent meeting in the field. I believe the mayor and I think Ms. Parr was there
That's what we're
with the
talking about.
representative. That's the
Mhm.
one you're talking
Yeah,
about. So it's
just
been
now.
more recent than that discussion. But
Mhm.
again,
But again, we're
they're
still
looking
hoping
for
better.
appropriate options.
Okay.
And there's one that I've been in contact with that's keeping me updated. They have towers already on their property for AT&T and a tower antenna. AT&T is moving theirs around. And so once they're done moving theirs around, they'll know whether they have the space for Verizon, but they are being communicative and telling me these things. So within hopefully weeks, we should know for sure. Every time I drive by, I can see the scaffolding still there. So, and then if not them, there's another building that had been in talks with them previously. And I started trying to reach out to them again because they dropped off and communicating with Verizon. It's really between Verizon and the building. Like it's not really our discussion, but in an effort to try and improve the service, it's we're throwing ourselves in it. So,
They have independent consultants, for want of a better word, that search for the tower locations. So, and then they bring those options back to Verizon.
but in all relation to this franchise agreement, Verizon, the cable company has been helpful in raising these flags and getting us in touch with the people who, as they've had turnover, they've been getting us in touch with the right people and been very helpful. So
Right.
I appreciate that.
So if you want a motion and you need a date certain, and what we can do is recirculate the current and final proposed draft to everybody, because we have some new trustees now. So
Yep. I think it's been in each of these packets.
Yes. It's been in every
It's
packet
been
for
in
the
every
last 5
packet.
meetings.
They've probably
perfect.
read it multiple
Never mind.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn this to a date certain of our January 27th meeting? Trustee Rothrock, second, trustee Patino, all in favor? That's 7. Okay,
And I will reach out again to Mr. Train and just remind him about double poles and extraneous wire.
And the same list that we got from Con Ed, that's the one I furnished. I think Verizon has that too. Con Ed has the list also of double poles. Because they're always pointing fingers at each other, you first, kind of thing.
but we'll consider that double poll
There
thing.
are quite a few of them in the village, as I
Yes.
recall from the
Yes.
spreadsheet.
There's dozens.
Okay.
Yeah, a few years ago, we did the paving local law, which was that if they
Mhm,
did
yeah,
work
they
on
had
the
to complete the
street, they
street.
couldn't just patch it, they had to pave the whole half of the street, the
It's
entirety
along
of
that
it.
vein.
And
There,
so
there is a,
similar to that.
there is a state law about this, but there is no enforcement mechanism at the state level. So the proposal that I'm going to make for a local law here is that we put an enforcement mechanism in and then enforce it. And with fines that, have a, gentle trigger, but that compound forcefully.
Right. My colleagues in Elmsford also have a similar law, so I'll be
Yeah,
happy
New
to share
Rochelle
that.
has that as well, yeah.
Elmsford has a very similar law.
I've done a lot of research and I've
BOC.
based the proposal I'm working on in all of the other
wanna
local laws.
Send over the samples, we can get
Yeah.
started.
Mhm.
My associate.
All right. Anybody here for courtesy of the floor?
Anybody online?
Travis? Online? No one?
Stephen?
Gosh, we are just not interesting. All right.
Anything to say?
Where's Patty?
They just think we have
So
a
under agenda.
Oh,
We texted.
I hope he's okay.
I mean,
I saw him last night at the sustainable meeting. Maybe he was talked out from that.
there were a lot of people here on Saturday
That's true.
So that maybe they were all
Go.
Yes.
turned out.
I couldn't make it.
Well, it was a big turnout, right?
Yeah.
Over 80
That's
people. We
fine.
had
All
over
right,
80
let's
people.
get these resolutions out of the way then. Shall we consider a resolution accepting the annual audited financial statements and single audit for fiscal year ending May 31st, 2025, as was in this presentation? First, trustee Rosenberg, second, deputy mayor Galen. Any discussion? No. All in favor? That's unanimous. Number two, we're going to consider a resolution accepting the annual audit of the village justice court records and docket for fiscal year ending May 31st, 2025, also part of that presentation. First, trustee Patino, second, trustee Rothrock, all in favor, 7-0. You like that?
I like it. And based upon the recently enacted law by the governor, those financial statements are to be linked to or provided on your website. So just a reminder that now that you've adopted them, they should be made available.
In a special way, other than they are currently in the backup for this.
I put
Yes,
on
they
the
need to be on the
treasurer's-
website.
Put it on the treasurer's.
Yeah, every year they're on, as soon as
Oh, got it.
it's approved,
Yep.
it's been posted for years.
Okay.
It's right there.
Number three, can I get a resolution or a motion for a resolution to approve the police department to declare Glock pistols and assorted ammunition as surplus equipment as outlined in the backup? First, Deputy Mayor Galen, second, trustee Asuma. Any discussion here?
Well, my only question is, how is this materially different from the resolution that we're about to do to declare certain Glock pistols and holsters? I mean, obviously, I'm just wondering why these couldn't have been one resolution.
That's a good
The
question.
second
One
one is
is
for
an
the,
auction. I'm
for
sorry.
the Glock pistol duty holsters. So they're
Oh,
separate.
that's just the,
Yeah,
why,
just
and
the
why
holster.
do they have to be holsters? Why can't they be?
Well, we're
holsters?
talking about weapons, so there's usually are separated out. I don't know if there's a law that requires that. It's just.
All right, just curious.
independently.
Yeah, the
Yes.
guns are
I
going.
had to squint to
We're
see.
getting a rebate for those and the actual
Oh.
holsters are going for an auction.
They do two different things. That's
All right.
All right,
Sorry.
let's all vote.
Oh,
All in
yes.
favor? Okay, 7-0.
Motion.
Oh, I did it first. I did Rothrock and, oh no, I did Deputy Mayor Galen and then I did Asuma. I threw everyone off.
Okay. that was
Sorry, I've
number
been doing the
three.
first and
Are
second.
you on
and
number
then
4 now?
discussion.
or
Now
that
I'm on
was-
number 4.
Okay.
Three
gotcha.
approved.
That was the vote for 3. This is
Okay.
now starting
Now the
4.
holsters.
All right, holsters. All right, is there a motion to approve the police department to declare Glock pistols duty holsters as surplus equipment? First, Gupta. Second, Rosenberg. All in favor? 7-0. Is that not helpful? It's helpful, yeah?
So,
What if it was 6-1? Then I would say it.
verbalize it or
All right.
just wave?
I'm learning here, Liz. I'm trying to keep it interesting. Number 5.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve the police department to declare assorted electronic equipment and accessories as surplus equipment? First, trustee Rothrock, second, trustee Asuma, all in favor, or is there a discussion? No? Okay, all in favor? Okay.
I was gonna
Unanimous.
say that some of these USB cables, I was gonna ask us to hold back, but then I figured we could proceed with the. Just kidding. This is crazy that we have to declare,
Yep.
but I guess.
Yeah,
we do.
everything has to be
Because
declared.
they were,
Taxpayer
because they were
dollars.
purchased with taxpayer dollars. They have to be declared surplus before you.
What if
can-
All
you
right.
lose one? I mean, a USB cable.
Okay, so
We have a perfect.
Come to
option.
the auction.
before I ask for a motion to authorize this park mobile, let's just start with. the motion.
No, you should call for the motion and then a
Okay.
second.
Well,
and
is there a
then
motion to execute the agreement with Park Mobile? All right. The first is trustee Rosenberg. Is there a second? Trustee Rothrock. All right, let's discuss.
There you go.
Okay, so Park Mobile, this is an agreement that is a bit overdue in executing. It expired in 2023. And we have been working with them to come up with a new agreement since then. And so this is that new agreement. I believe we had a workshop where we brought up this 40 cents last year, and the board had asked at the workshop to keep negotiating, and we are at the 40 cents. And as Margaret outlined in an extremely thorough and helpful memo that would be in our minutes after this meeting, you can see the comparison rates. So this rate that we're talking about, that is like the biggest change, or one of the changes, is the fee that goes to the user when they are using Park Mobile to pay for their fees. And so we are at the low end because we were one of the first to adopt Park Mobile. So we have had the benefit of having a lower rate, which they are continuing to give to us at 40 cents. But you can see our neighbors aren't necessarily as lucky. And anything, who wants to talk about this?
So what you're doing is basically increasing the parking fee
Mm-hmm.
from 40 cents to 50 cents.
No,
30
30
to
cents.
40.
30 to 40.
Close.
Thank you all. Shut up.
Yeah.
Jessica, what would you like to talk about?
I would like to talk about whether we need to be charging for parking. Because I think, oh.
Ready to go.
He just perked up.
Oh.
All right,
This is
let me,
exciting.
before we get to that,
Oh, man.
I'll just say one thing, that there is the discussion that we can have about whether or not we should be charging for parking. But I would want to clarify before we have that discussion, are we talking about in general, completely throughout the entire village, and therefore we would not need Park Mobile because there would be no charging? Or is it just that we're talking about the downtown, and that's a discussion we can have specifically around the downtown, which would mean that we would probably still need Park Mobile to pay for parking in other areas like the waterfront park or a 99-seater or back of Village Hall, or maybe not, but so I think we can decide if there's consensus that we don't ever want to pay for parking again anywhere, and we don't need Park Mobile, then that can be a vote, but I don't know that
That's going to require a lot more discussion than
right.
here and now.
Okay, and so I just want to acknowledge that there is the difference between that and still needing to have an agreement with Park Mobile, because we probably intend on charging somewhere, and so these fees would be for the people who are paying, right?
So I guess in order to answer that question, my follow-up question would be, are we obliged in the agreement as outlined to maintain the number of zones, for example, or anything like that? So we can ratchet it down as much as we want, and we can, even if we in 2 years eliminated all parking fees, which I would not recommend, we could have an active agreement with Park Mobile, but but not use it essentially.
Well, correct. We can have one zone, should I get up here?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Please, thank you.
Yeah. Chris.
Yes.
We can whittle it down to as many zones or add as many zones as you want.
Mhm.
And none of that has any relevance to signing this particular
They
agreement.
don't
There's not
actually,
minimums.
no,
No.
I mean, just to check that isn't part of how they decide what the rates are, is how much they potentially could get
No.
from us, because they would get less if we had less parking that we were charging for.
No.
Okay.
No, that's not, part of the reason
Even
they
if
want us
so, it
here
would
is
probably
because
behoove
we're
us to do it
surrounded
now
by
and not
other
have
ones.
less.
We're-
Anyway.
We're a good client. for
We're a
lot of
good client.
reasons.
Okay.
Okay, so I would like to revise my proposed discussion, which doesn't have to happen right now, that we,
But we definitely, I will acknowledge your need for this discussion based on the fact of Hastings having this discussion and Ardsley having already determined free parking, and Irvington. I want to acknowledge to everybody that we are watching that, and we are not going to ignore that and act like we're the only people who should forever charge for parking in the downtown. We can consider what
I'm
that
not going to
means.
concede that.
Well, I can acknowledge that we should discuss it,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
I second that.
Okay. So yes, it is not going unnoticed that they're discussing it in our neighboring town, and that they've already made changes in Ardsley, and Irvington's been like this forever. But that doesn't change the fact that we will still need Park Mobile for other parts of the village.
so this doesn't, the agreement that's outlined here does not we do, we don't have to decide any changes, I don't believe. about
Correct.
If we want to keep if we want to continue to own the free 15 minutes,
Right, all of those
That's an
things can be
additional-
done later.
that's all later.
This is
Yeah,
just
she fixed that.
Adding the 10
to
cents.
continue the fee for 40 cents, which is exceptionally low. And if we lock it in, we're going to get it for 5 years.
Yeah.
So we really should
Right.
lock it in. And we can make any of those changes later, which is why I separated it out like that. So we can take away the 15-minute free, we can take away zones, we can add zones, we can do any of those
Right.
things later. We can decide who's going to absorb the fees. All of those things can happen later. This is just to lock in the fee.
Thank you very much.
And when it's 40 cents, I just want to understand, I saw that Sleepy Hollow absorbs all of the fees. And if you were to do something like that and it's 40 cents, that doesn't change that it's 40 cents. That would just be on
No,
us
so
if
if-
we
if-
wanted to, for whatever reason, do that.
So we can change that. So if we decided that we wanted the consumer to absorb all the fees, that's where they gave me those numbers, 65 cents and then 70 cents. I think
Got
that's
it.
what it was. But if we want to do it the other way, so what Sleepy Hollow did was they added it into their rates.
Oh,
And so when you go onto your phone and you try to park in Sleepy Hollow, you'll see, it looks like it's not consistent, but it's because they added it into the rate. So it might be like 65 cents for 15 minutes, but then it goes up to $1 for a half
Okay.
hour. And it doesn't look like,
mhm.
like it's mathematically correct, but it's because they added those in there. And then when you go to check out, it says service fee 0.
Huh.
Oh, okay, so it's kind of like tiered.
Correct.
The way they do it.
So
Okay.
they're not actually eating the fee. They're just packaging.
They're not.
They're passing it, they're,
Yes.
Your free is not free.
no.
It depends. If you're using the app, then it comes up as a service fee. In many communities I park in and, that we should have a countywide parking system, but we don't. Parkwise, White Plains, all of those,
Pay to
when
park.
you
Hartsdale.
use the app,
Fango. all
the
of them.
service fee for using the credit card shows up when you go to park. But if you go to the kiosk and you put your cash in, not credit card, if you put cash in the kiosk, you don't, there's no service fee added, so. I always walk to the kiosk with my quarters.
And it's because the kiosk and Park Mobile are only connected in the sense that they allow, Park Mobile allows the kiosk to use their zone numbers. That's the only way they're connected. It's a different system that takes that money. I know it's more complicated than
So now, if we use the kiosk for like the 15-minute, the free 15-minute.
Correct.
There's no charge to the village on that one.
correct.
Yes, there
Okay.
is.
No, there's
she
not.
just said-
No.
The-
Yeah.
The village picks, oh, not.
No,
Not
on
for
the
not when you
kiosk.
do it in the kiosk because it's not actually connected to Park
Right.
Mobile.
In the kiosk,
Okay.
right.
This is one of the reasons we shouldn't have this conversation live, because it winds up always being what's the rule again? Like, we need to have sort of some documentation that we can all go off of so that
I think that's in the memo.
we're having, we're all able to have the same rational discussion.
I think perhaps we could, if I may.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need.
I
more
mean, I
permission,
have some
so-
additional, I think we have an amazing starting point. Your memo addresses the, Park Mobile, a bunch of the Park Mobile analysis. I think there's more analysis that goes into some of these bigger questions. I think the question before us today is, should we accept the delta between the existing non-continuing contract and the potential future
Oh, yeah,
contract?
those other
It's
things
just-
weren't in this
right,
backup because
so-
we're not making those decisions.
Right, so I'm saying just
Yeah.
to move us
Yeah.
to resolution tonight, do we feel comfortable signing an agreement that changes our responsibility from 30 cents to 40 cents per transaction?
Residents'
Knowing
responsibility.
residents' responsibility, knowing that we can dial up or down with our Park Mobile relationship.
Correct.
And likely we'll need Park Mobile or something similar in perpetuity, so we may as well lock in this low rate for now for the next 5 years. Did I have that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and we can make any of the nuanced
I make a
changes
motion.
anytime.
Oh, wait, I already made a motion.
All right, so we already had a motion and we had a
Your
second.
hand up.
Do we want any more
Donna-
discussion?
Donna has a question.
Donna, do you have a question or you want to vote? She wants to vote. All right.
Okay.
Let's
I was like, put me out of
vote
misery.
on
Being social.
authorizing us into agreeing on this settlement. What's everybody say? Yay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yay. That's 7-0.
And then Christy will add on, do you want to add all of these individual questions in workshops going forward? Do you want to kind of prioritize those?
Yeah, I think if you guys
And we'll
have
do 'em one at a
questions and data
time.
that you want, we're trying in, our new organizational system to have that so that we have the answers when we come to the meeting. If you have specific questions around, I think we just have to determine what we're going to be talking about. Either we're talking about whether or not to have 15 minutes free downtown, or if we're having free parking downtown, or I think we have to determine what it is we want to discuss, but we will do that at a workshop. And if there's any information that you want in relation to downtown parking and what we should charge or not charge, send it my way and we'll get it.
Got a memo in progress.
Great.
All right.
Can't wait.
Oh, God.
All right.
Thank you.
You did it.
Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you, Margaret.
Awesome.
Oh, you really don't.
Oh, number 7. Is there a motion to authorize the tax certiorari settlement with petitioner Dobbs Ferry Apartment Court, Inc. for the property located at 269 Broadway? First, Deputy Mayor Galen, second, Trustee Rothrock. Would you guys like to discuss anything here on this? This is for both this and the following, which we can separate out into a different discussion. These are settlements that are negotiated between the town and
Of Greenberg,
Greenberg, not the town of Dobbs Ferry,
just for
right?
the public.
The town of Greenberg, who handles our tax certs, they negotiate these settlements with the residents and property owners, and then bring them to us, and they do their best on our behalf, because we ask them to do that for us. All right, so let's vote on 269 Broadway. All in favor? All right, unanimous on that. And number 8 is motion for authorizing the tax cert settlement with petitioner The Landing on the water at Dobbs Ferry for property locating at Landing Drive and Hudson Drive. Is there a first for this? First, Deputy Mayor Galen, second, Trustee Asuma. All right, this one's a larger settlement.
You want to just put the
For the
numbers
record.
into the record?
Oh, okay. I would love to do that.
Second
Jeff
page.
probably
Thank
has
you.
it.
All right.
Bottom
Should I go
right.
back? I'll go back to the one we already voted on, and that was for $2,614 and, oh, nope.
No.
That was the second page.
There's two.
Oh, there's two.
Yep.
Oh, I was almost done then. $2,614.04 is for one of them. The other is $11,683.97.
And those are two different periods of
Different
time.
tax years, yeah.
Different years for 269 Broadway.
Two different parcels.
Two different parcels,
Mm.
not years. For 269 Broadway. The next one is the Landing. The total is $93,728.67. This was litigation between not just the town, but also the school district, yeah?
The school district intervened in the litigation, yes.
Right. Because I imagine theirs is much, much higher than 93,000. So they intervened.
This is what they do is they negotiate the assessed value, and then
Right.
the mill rate is then applied to that, and they discuss what the refund will be, or going forward, what the tax adjustment will be. Yeah.
Yes, and we were not involved in that one, but I think in the future, we anticipate we would be involved more in that with the school board.
Yeah, there
to make
was,
Sure that we are advocating for the village's right to the taxes to the best of our ability.
there was a miscommunication where the board was not made aware that there was a demand of this magnitude. And unlike the school, we did not, every government has the opportunity, every taxing authority has the opportunity to decide whether they're going to intervene in the litigation and become a party to the negotiation. We were not aware that this was going on, so we did not have the opportunity to take that position. This is, another sort of piece of fallout from the landings change of tax status from homeowners in a townhome community to and I may be misstating the actual language of it, to a condominium complex, which entails a different tax scheme. So that happened a few years ago. In that one, the village did intervene, and the landing prevailed on that. This is a case where the landing has said our taxes, while they were cut in half, are still too high for our tastes. So they attacked the assessment, and I certainly wish we would have had an opportunity. I feel very strongly, as most of you know, that this is a community that has put off an enormous amount of its obligation to the community onto other members of the community. And this is another circumstance in which the other taxpayers in Dobbs Ferry are going to pick up a portion of what had been allocated to the landing. The one, there's a couple of small things that I want to say. One is, I mean, that was
Not
a little
that.
non-small, but
That was
the amuse-bouche, that was.
You have 3 minutes.
I can do it. I can do it. The reason that the condominium tax status was established to begin with was to give homeownership opportunities to lower income people. And here we have a case where, and we talked about this in our meeting with the assessor, there was a recent purchase of a unit at the landing for $1.6 million, and that unit's tax burden is less than half of that $1.6 million. So it is very much not meeting the goals of homeownership for low-income people. It is, in fact, a case where this scheme, and by scheme, I don't mean the landings scheme, I mean the scheme governing condominium taxes, is counterproductive to what its intent was. So I would like to ask that we explore what we as a village can do to petition the state to eliminate this category of taxation, because it's just not. It's 100+ units that are not pulling their weight in our community. That organization, owes significant money in legal fees from litigation they brought against the village that they have lost, and they continue to appeal in order to try to not pay. It all adds up to a pretty bad taste in the mouth. So this is just a speech. I intend to vote yes because the town has given us no real choice in negotiating this, but it certainly leaves a sour taste.
I know the town, to its credit, does negotiate on behalf of us as strongly as it can. And so I do appreciate their efforts. And that's why we choose to work with them versus having our own assessing department in the village of Dobbs Ferry. So I wouldn't want them to think that we don't appreciate that. But yes, so here we are, and we have a renegotiated tax due that we now owe them, and it's $93,728.67. And can we vote? Who votes for doing this and approving this? Oh, it's unanimous.
Mm.
We just love tax certs. That's how much.
Yeah, they're gritted teeth.
All right, number 9. Do I have a motion to allow the village administrator to execute an updated intermunicipal agreement between the village of Dobbs Ferry and the town of Greenberg in regards to the townwide SWAT team? Can you give us a little, or hold on, is there a motion? Okay, Deputy Mayor Thielen, second, Trustee Gupta, right. Can you give us backstory, anyone who?
We have Travis here.
Wonderful. Travis, can you tell us a little bit about this? Put it in plain people terms for people like me.
Go to the source.
Right.
This is a nice intermunicipal agreement.
Mhm.
Seems like a great.
I
thing.
don't know how long the village has been a member of the team. I myself was a member of the team
Mm,
in 2021. When I got promoted to lieutenant, I came off the team just because of my responsibilities. The agreement is basically just to permit us to provide. Sorry, Zach. The SWAT team is very special to me.
mm.
I was involved in a shooting with them. Sorry.
Awesome. Get you some water, you good?
No, it's-
You don't have to
it's-
go
it's a-
through
It's
it.
a special place in
Mm-hmm.
my heart. By us allowing, sorry, I'm just choking up very bad.
Take your time.
I don't enjoy talking about it, so
Mhm.
it's
You
just
don't have to.
kind of on the spot.
Mhm.
It was June 2019, rough night. The chief had just been promoted a couple of years ago, or before that. It was a call out at RZ Acres. I know I'm kind of going off the cuff here.
Mhm.
Call out about 11 o'clock at night. I responded over there with another member, Detective G. It was a barricaded situation. Shots were fired. I was struck by a ricochet. It was just, it was terrible, and I think about it every day.
Mhm.
But the SWAT team is a resource for the village. When we have people traveling through, even our own residents, sometimes they need assistance, and the SWAT team has resources that us as the village police department just don't have.
Mhm.
Specialized training, these guys are going twice a month, every first and third Wednesday of the month. They train specialized tactics, specialized equipment, electronic stuff, weapons, tactics, reaching, equipment. So this agreement basically just allows us to contribute, our members to that team. And should we need their resources, we would go through the channels, to get those resources to us, should we need them, or if another village or the town of Greenberg, should request, our officers to respond outside of the village. So we've been, again, I'm not exactly sure how long we've been a member of the team, way before I got hired here. I know the chief was a member as well. So it's really just to continue that. I believe it's good for 5 years. So every 5 years, this comes up and we have to renew it in order to, have the insurance and everything squared away. Everybody's covered and protected to the best of our ability.
Thank you so much.
So, apologize.
And thank you for
Second.
everything.
Thank you for sure.
All right. Do we,
You had a motion and second.
I did a motion in a second. All in favor? Right? Everybody unanimous. Number 10, is there a motion to approve a home rule request to revise to include court officers among the list of peace officers in the New York State Criminal Procedural Law? This is an update to an existing home rule request we did last year that is up for consideration, but we wanted to make sure there was an updated 2026 version of it. So that's the backstory on that. Is there a motion for it? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Patino, all in favor? Well, 6-0 because Donna is no longer on TV unless she's.
there she
There
is.
she
Oh.
is. Never mind, just kidding.
That was
Save the
fun.
day,
Oh,
last
wow.
second
Right.
vote, comes in with her hand up.
Okay, let's just do the announcements really fast and then we will go into an executive session. Trustee Gupta, do you have any announcements or reports that you would like to share with the rest of us?
I missed my tree commission
Oh,
meeting
you
was
are
on Monday,
fired.
so I'm gonna report for the next meeting. But we, for the youth services,
Mhm,
this is exciting. I'm so glad. Thank you for
mhm.
allowing me to be the liaison for
Oh,
that.
do
But
I have to make if I
Oh.
change to liaisons, Liz, do I need to acknowledge that, at a meeting?
You should.
Okay, we'll put it on the next meeting to
yes,
officially acknowledge that. Or do I do it now and that's fine?
They're your appointments, so you
Yeah,
can just
Okay.
announce them.
I swapped and now trustee Gupta is the liaison to the Youth Services Council and trustee Asuma is the liaison to the Beautification Committee.
Mayor, do you want to include Kendra Garrison as the CAB? Or is
Ooh,
that, we can do
gosh,
that
that's
next
on a
time?
future agenda. I'm not prepared.
Oh, no, we
but-
can do a future, I'm just, if you want.
Yeah, we'll put that on so that people see that more
Okay.
publicly.
but yeah, so we're gonna have some, we also met with a high school student and actually going to try to get more student involvement with a youth advisory board, we're hoping. So we'll see. I'm excited to report on that next month
Right,
after we
yeah.
met with them. And then for the traffic committee is meeting on tomorrow. So I will report back,
Wonderful.
but we have a lot,
Mhm.
a lot of exciting.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yeah, there was a sustainable meeting yesterday, which was largely an organizational meeting and a goal-setting meeting. Both the Sustainable Dobbs and CAB, I've had one meeting each with them since since our reorg meeting. Both of them are working on, both their ongoing work and the integration of the goal document that we presented to the committees to identify places where their goals and our goals can support each other. But no particular announcements, just ongoing work on that.
This is just for general public, the Historical Society, which I strongly encourage everyone to follow along the work that they're doing, had a wonderful, their annual eggnog gathering. It's a really wonderful organization that, tracks on the village's history, and they do a lot of really extraordinary programming that, sometimes folks don't know about. So if you're watching this at home, please sign up for their updates. And the Parks and Rec Commission is working on some exciting new policies that they will be bringing to this body for consideration around naming conventions, naming protocols for donations to the village and to the parks for benches and things like that. And also working on expanding opportunities for folks to rent the Embassy Center and other facilities. And they have a new chair, which I need to email Liz about, who is DeSanne Davis, who's been on the commission for a while and has just stepped up to be their new chair. And the Public Art Committee is getting its feet under it, and we'll be going out with some information about that soon. So that is underway.
Trustee Rothrock, how you doing? You have any-
You caught me, I was looking
Oh.
for my latest emails from my committee, so the downtown committee, I met with Ed, and there's another meeting coming up next week. What I was looking for in my email was if he sent you over the suggested dates for the Dine Out Dobbs. We were talking about different events, and the downtown committee is also very interested in the Verizon discussion, the Verizon wireless discussion in the downtown. And then the LDC, I'm the liaison, yeah, we don't, okay. We're, I also met with, the downtown advocate who's working with the LDC, and I would like to coordinate with the downtown committee and him on some ideas and projects, and, because there's a lot of synergy there, and he gave me an update, and then the other committees I've reached out to, but I haven't connected with yet.
Saturday, we had we had our second public workshop for the comprehensive plan. I think the report was 80 people who signed up, but there were a lot of people there without name tags, so we had a good turnout. For the most part, we had exceptionally good feedback, both in the breadth of coverage and the number of very specific items that residents have brought up over time, all of those having been included in some part of the comprehensive plan. I think the most popular and kind of where we received the most contribution were about connections for future trailways, and a large map plan that included many, if not all, of the lovely ideas that residents have had for downtown improvement over the years. That is going to get put on our website. The accumulated comments, which were posted on the various tables and boards, will be collated. Those will be, some of which will be incorporated into the comprehensive plan language, and in some form or another. So thanks for everyone who came and participated. We had, I think, 10 or so people on various committees there. A lot of us were, there at some point or another. So very successful, very positive workshop.
Agreed. It was warm and fuzzy. Okay. And so, yeah, so, trustee Asuma.
Hello.
Back there. Hi.
I'm so sorry I missed the events this weekend. I was looking forward to it, and I'm so glad Saturday was successful, and I hope the eggnog was good on Sunday. Okay, I went to the nominating committee meeting last night, and we're focused on getting committee members from each ED, as we discussed, Christie, as well. So we're working on that. And we also got a VAC volunteer application, so that was really good. We're happy about that. Beautification committee, in speaking with Ruby, one of the main goals is Stephen and Jen working with DPW closely on the goals of the beautification committee. And I think that could be a great partnership, and I think we can accomplish a lot with that. And she has some really very good ideas. The library board's event is the mini golf, January 30th through February 1st. That's next weekend, not this coming weekend. So that would be great. They also, and I don't know if this is something that is our responsibility or something we have to talk about further, and this is the second time that I've spoken to them about it, is they have HVAC problems. There is no air conditioning. That is no air conditioning, but the air conditioning has some function problems. So I don't know, we could talk further about that. And
We can provide historical data on that as well. Happy to get you up.
okay, yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm coming in on just hearing, what some of the concerns are. And the Friends of the Waterfront, they'd love to have more input and coordination on any park green spaces we have, and talked about more native and pollinating planting, which contributes to wildlife and biodiversity. So we have a lot of these committees that really want to partner with our goals and be a bigger part of the community. So good stuff, I think.
Great. I just wanted to point out on top of all of that, that yes, we're also still looking for people who are interested in appointment to the ambulance corps board, that they're creating a new board. Feel free to reach out to me, all the people watching, if you're interested and have any questions, or then you can also apply using the volunteer information on the website. But I just wanted to bring up that the staff has been working behind the scenes on a grant application for the Transportation Alternatives Program through the DOT for Walgrove, the drainage issues that we have at Walgrove. And so Fiona, who writes many of our applications, is working on this with Anthony, the engineer, and Rob. And so I wanted the rest of the board to know that this is happening, and it's due in March. And if we could get state funding to help with the drainage along Walgrove, the drainage issues are a main reason why the road itself is terrible, because the drainage is not great beneath it. So what we're arguing in this grant application is that it helps. It's a big connector, as we all know, between Children's Village and the school and the rest of the village. And so as this road is causing people to swerve and not drive it appropriately, and having no sidewalks in parts of it, having that upgraded through this grant funding would be hugely impactful in connecting and having people ride bikes and walk between those locations, because it would be safer altogether. So we're working on that. That's all. Just wanted you to know. Can I get a motion to go into executive session, or we just do it? All right, I'd like to
For the.
make a motion myself to go into executive session
For
for
discussion.
discussion of
leading to
personnel.
employment, Promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension. It's 105, 1F.
That one. I will make the motion myself, second by trustee Rosenberg. All in favor? All right, we shall adjourn to quiet room.
We have to reach out to Donna in the back
Mhm.
or wherever you choose to have your executives.
Okay.
No.
You have to return to general session to adjourn the
Yeah,
regular
so it just
meeting.
keeps going, and
You put up a sign that says,
yes.
just, you
Can
can.
we close,
make it
can we close this meeting and then have another separate executive
No.
session meeting subsequently?
No.
Part of the meeting.
Cannot, it has to only occur from within a regular meeting. Doesn't qualify for advice of counsel.
So will I have a Zoom link to join?
I'll call you in, Donna.
Okay,
Your phone.
Yes, you can pause your video and
Keep the video on.
And
'cause you'll
mute.
Come back after the executive session.
okay.
Just mute.
Keep the video on, but take the audio off.
that works.
And she'll call you on the phone.
came back.
We need a resolution to engage with the consultant, or we need to
Going around.
move forward
No,
to,
just give me instructions. I'll bring forward some
and then you'll bring it
candidates.
forward. Okay, got it.
Almost over.
Okay, can I make a motion to close
keep talking.
executive session? First,
Uh,
trustee Roughrock, second, trustee Patino, all in favor, all of us. And then do I have to,
Wait, Donna?
Oh,
You know
Don,
what?
we need Donna back.
You can
That's
hear
all
me,
I'm
but
vote-
if for some reason it's
We can hear
saying
you.
it's unable to start video.
it's all right, we can hear you.
Okay,
And that's just closing executive. Session. I don't need to reopen this. This is just.
Uh,
open, right?
now it's
Yeah.
saying,
Okay,
okay,
before we wrap up, I just wanted our village attorney to explain to all of us what a PLA is, because
Okay.
one thing we're trying to do is finish our Gould Park RFP. And one thing we talked about in a workshop was that we wanted to explore the idea of a PLA, which is
Project Labor Agreement.
that is a pre-planned, the concept is that it will help streamline the agreements with all of the contractors and the people who work on the projects to help it go faster. But she will tell us more, and then we can give her consensus as to whether or not we want to engage in the process, which entails some things.
Great. General municipal law usually requires the compliance for your procurement purposes. It's called Wick's Law. I'm sure you've heard of that phrase in the past. Wick's Law is the
For
is the
trades.
vernacular name under general municipal law by which you have to procure goods, services, et cetera, having to do with a public works project. You're looking at a public works project for Gould Park in a new recreation facility, which would rise to the level of needing Wick's Law compliance. Wick's Law would require you to bid each trade that would be involved in this project separately. So you would have a general construction, you would have a plumbing, you would have electric, you'd have HVAC, you'd have a structural, you'd have all of those trades under a separate contract. That's the routine way. New York State labor law permits you to avoid the Wick's Law requirements and enter into a pre-negotiated project labor agreement. It's like a collective bargaining agreement, which you negotiated with the council, the trades council, on behalf of all of the trades that would be working on the project. So you would then you would receive bid responses from a single entity with a team behind them. In other words, general contractor A would have a team which includes someone from all of those trades, and that would be your project labor agreement they would enter into with this general contractor. So essentially, you're going to contract with a single contractor. That being said, there are certain prerequisites under the law before you can enter into negotiations with the Trades Council. That being, you need to provide evidence of the feasibility to use the PLA as opposed to the Wick's Law. So there are certain consultants with relationships with the council who provide the evidence in the form of a feasibility study. If the feasibility study supports the idea of the PLA, then your board can pass a resolution meeting the obligations under labor law, and then you can proceed to issue the specifications in this team format. So your RFP that I've been working on with Trustee Patino and with Valerie Manostra, we would need to just include an initial phase. It would have to be adjusted, and I have a way to do that. An initial phase, so you can start your RFP to get a design team in, an engineering team in, and you can start the process of schemes. You have a lot of public engagement and a lot of engagement with your board already built into that RFP. At the same time, if you prefer to use the PLA approach, I can put out a number of requests of appropriate consultants to get a proposal for what it would cost to enter this feasibility study. And they would also then proceed to negotiate with the council, the PLA. There's a standard form PLA, but it can be adjusted in many ways to meet the needs of the project. For example, if you were to be getting grant funding, the grant funding requirements would be incorporated into that PLA. What this does is, because the plumbing union and the electrical union may have different grievance procedures, what this PLA does is it negotiates with those two trades and they come to an agreement with what the grievance procedure will be for this project agreement. So I have worked with a particular consultant. It doesn't necessarily to be that consultant in Philadelphia on a $217 million project that I'm working on for the waterworks, Westchester Joint Waterworks. So they produced a feasibility study. The feasibility study supported the PLA. The board passed the resolution. So you can proceed with your RFP at the same time to a certain extent, because, for example, construction oversight would be significantly less because your preferred partner in this project would only be overseeing a single entity as opposed to multiple entities. So
We're doing an RFP, not an RFQ, right?
RFP.
So how can you have an RFP out there, and how can people be putting together bids if they don't know?
They're only bidding for the design portion
Oh,
of
the
the work.
design portion.
Yeah.
This
Okay,
would
got
be
it, got it,
the-
got it, got it, got it.
Yes, they wouldn't need to be preparing, before you proceed to
Yep.
prepare the construction specifications, the
Mhm.
shop drawings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You would have a
Got it.
decision as to whether the feasibility study
Okay.
supports. I would say the feasibility study, the consultant who does the feasibility study and negotiates directly to produce this PLA. Again, you're not a party to the PLA. The contractor, the general contractor would sign it and the council would sign it, and it's added in the spec when it finally goes out to specifications. It's approximately $10,000 to $15,000 to pay for the services of this consultant to prepare the feasibility study, which must contain a lot of data, a lot of information, because PLA has to prove that it will make it quicker, make it cheaper, and also will avoid work stoppages, because all of those terms and conditions would be, and I can send you a sample, their model PLA is available, the council is very active. And as soon as I call the Trades Council representative, they're gonna be all over us, because of course, this is the way that they would like to proceed, because it really does move forward. And it also provides opportunities for their apprentices, there's a lot of benefits to PLA.
I have a-
Go, you go.
I have a few questions.
Sure.
I think I would just say that working any other way than this way is a terrible idea. But there's a few things that you answered one question, which is my first question, what's the cost of feasibility study? Says around $10,000 or $15,000.
Depending, it's a smaller project than that which I just
Okay,
did,
so
so.
I would just point out that we have spent, we spent orders of magnitude more than that on the contract administration, the, construction phase for,
There's no reason not to do it.
yeah, it's gonna save us money in the long run. But my other question was, if you're on the whole, do those contracts, the general contract, do you save money? Do you spend more money in entering this negotiation? What does the data say about it? Because it's not something I'm familiar with.
Right, that's what the feasibility study would prove.
Okay.
If it proves otherwise, then you don't use the
There you go.
PLA, you go to Wix.
So am I,
And we still have to pay for the feasibility study.
yeah. So what's the likelihood of a positive outcome? Just,
99%.
okay,
Great.
that's great. All right,
This
then when-
project I'm working on, it was very complex, a lot of trades involved. You have a much
yeah, we have,
smaller scope
15
and
trades.
complexity, but it certainly rises to the level, $10 million, $15 million, where it would most likely appear that you'd benefit from a pre-negotiated public labor agreement.
Earlier, you said that it requires a lot of numbers and a lot of data. Are those numbers and is that data going to be available prior to the completion of design and engineering work?
Yes, that's what we're hoping to do. You can proceed with your RFP to get started on your design and, because it's right now just a concept and a scope.
Right.
So
Which would
yes,
seem to me to have.
you would
very little
have,
Data associated with it at this point, but you said it needs a lot.
well,
So
it just needs, their research to determine level of work stoppages in the council region. It would, it's.
Just gonna look at a
sti-
Jason
Oh, so it's,
project.
It's statistical.
general data. It's
It's
not
data-driven
data
data.
related to the project.
No, it is
Okay.
not. It
Thank
is
you.
related to projects of similar size and scope. It's related also to the success in this region with this council, how many work stoppages, how, it's pretty important. Because you'll have already predetermined the terms and conditions for all the trades in a
No,
single document.
I understand. I just thought that it was project related data. and
No.
you clarified that it's not project related.
Well, they will need that at some point, but you can get started with both processes. And that's what I was suggesting, that's all.
So I vote yes to include this in the RFP. And two, I would also say that we should have, the firm you work with and maybe a second quote so that we have something to
Mhm.
compare.
I do have a colleague who works for a different firm who works very closely and almost exclusively with school districts. The school districts are notoriously an entity that works with PLAs. So she had provided me with a number of 4 or 5 of these typical consultants when we went out to search at the waterworks. And this was a consultant who worked for the town village of Harrison on a rec building. So that's how the connection was made on, but I can certainly reach out to her again to see if she's worked with someone recently that she really loved. And, we can continue to do that. I just didn't want to raise the flag and call the council saying this was a possibility until I got a permission, or not permission as much as just authorization to indicate that you were interested.
I think we're interested.
Yep. And then, anytime we want to do this, just considering the number of potential similar size projects that may be approved from New York Forward, we would do a feasibility study every time.
Yes, you have to do a feasibility study project to project.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's really, it's the size and complexity and the multiple trades
Yeah.
working on site. So that's really what triggers this possibility for
Right,
you.
I'm just thinking like Lower Memorial and.
It's mostly for buildings.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's all public works projects and yes, working.
Also need design phrases, all of those.
Yeah.
So do I have a nod?
Mhm. No.
Don, are you nodding? Okay. Thank you. I'll send some emails out this week and I'll contact the council just to let them know you're considering this and you're interested. Don't be
And then
surprised. if-
hopefully we'll have
we reach
the
out.
Gold Park RFP to review for the.
Yes, I'll
Now,
fuss with
Can
it.
we prioritize that so that it is on the
It is.
27th?
Yes, I'm going to, yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
All right, who wants to adjourn? Can I get a motion by Deputy Mayor Galen, Trustee Gupta, all in favor? 7-0. 7-0.
Everything unanimous today.